Oh my gosh, guys. I just saw the best movie I've ever seen in my life, other than Toy Story.
Ready Player One.
I've seen it too.
See, he's seen it.
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I've seen it. Discussion time?
Yeah, let's have a discussion about it.
Right.
You in on
Hey, hey. You guys, you can't talk about Ready Player One without the 80s.
What are you looking at?
this? Who's over there? Is someone over there? I don't
No,
see nobody.
no. It's just between me and them.
Who?
Who?
None of your business.
Yes.
Anyway, you can't talk about the Ready Player One without the 80s. That movie is full of 80s things, and I am the 80s.
Are you saying you're the 80s personified?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the 80s was like the best musical era.
Exactly.
Oh, it was the best of all things. That's why we keep referencing it. Me.
Uh-oh.
Well, not you.
Anyway, move over.
No.
Move over. There's
Get off
much
me.
we have to
Get off me.
discuss.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I don't know. I'd have to check, but I think John Williams must have done the score because there were parts during the movie where I thought I was listening to bits of Jurassic Park or Back to the Future.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
there was,
Back
and there
to-
was actually a lot of references to Back to the Future because if you notice something, Parzival is driving a DeLorean.
Of course he is.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
That's the
I
only
totally,
car.
I totally didn't notice that.
It's the only thing you could have noticed.
I'm just kidding.
It's sarcasm.
I didn't know that.
McFly.
No one was wearing a red vest though. A life preserver.
Good for you.
Besides all the 80s references and pop culture references and the references of references and video game references, like all the references, what else made this movie great?
The story.
The plot.
The story.
The
yeah.
plot. I mean, the plot.
So what did you guys think of, like, at the very end, you know, when Halliday is trying to get the golden egg out and he's having his little spiel. And he's like, well, real is, you know, the only place where you can get a decent meal. You know, real
I
is
like
real.
that.
And so basically kind of the moral is real and real is better, so you shouldn't be living in a video game.
Yeah.
That's the moral, but at the same time, Wade gets the pretty girl from a video game. He gets all of the cool best friends from a video game. He wins over $1 trillion from winning a video game. So do you think that the movie's kind of not doing a good job at expressing this moral?
After all that, you can't reap the benefits from the video game without being out of the video game. Like the $1 trillion whatever dollars, he can't do anything with it if he's not in real life.
So that's why you set up that rule is that it goes down on Tuesdays and
Yeah, I mean, he set up that rule.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, and that's a good thing that came at the end. What I'm kind of saying is that the movie as a whole, as it's trying to communicate this moral to its audience members in a world where there's a lot of VR, people in video games, like you were just talking about, all the video games you play, and is this moral, it's trying to get you to say, don't spend your life in a video game, you gotta go outside and have fun and have a real life. But Wade gets everything he wants at the end of the movie from playing primarily in the video game. He doesn't get the egg outside the video game. He gets the egg in the video game. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, just because of the situation, I mean, like, the whole competition as a whole, you're going to forge those kinds of relationships. And after the competition is done, it's no doubt you're going to have those things. So I'm pretty sure, like, I think it did a good job of, like, from a gamer's perspective, it did a good job, communicating or conveying that, with a team of people, you're eventually gonna, meet them, have a friendship with them, probably for a long while.
What do you guys think the future of VR is going to be, especially with the success of this movie?
I hope the Oasis becomes a real thing, but not as messed up
there's
as it was in the movie.
Yeah, there was like it's like vision goggles for people who are blind and stuff. So I bet it's like on the rounding of the corner, like Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online!
I hope it doesn't become that either.
Yes.
What? Sword Art Online was great.
If you die there, you die. I've
Well, that's only because they
stopped-
use microwaves.
Other than okay, Nerve Gear, let's minus microwaves. If VR became like
The
well, they had
Oasis.
like the Oasis or Sword Art Online, I think that would be amazing. Honestly,
Yes, but you'd want to have, like,
well then
if it was shut down, you know, for those 2 days, I wouldn't mind it. But if it becomes a constant thing, it's gonna be like. So you saw in the beginning that mom was jumping on the couch, shooting like a maniac.
oh yeah.
It could become like that, and many kids and people could, you know, become neglected after a while. So you want to have that in real life time. You want to take
Oh,
the
yeah.
time to.
Oh, that's what I was about to bring up. I'm like, well, they should close the servers on certain days. I mean, I'm sure you can do offline play, but with that's probably not that fun.
One
Kinda
of
neat.
the things that happens in the very beginning of the movie when Parzival is in the Oasis and he's kind of explaining about it, and he says, everyone's got their own avatar, and it's like an extension of themselves. And as gamers, do you think also that your characters or your avatars or whatever are like a part of your identity? And
Yes.
following
Yes.
on to that question, what do you think that would do in a VR setting if people are playing in VR a lot? Like, what does that do to a person's identity and what they think of themselves when they're able to just, you know, make themselves look or be whatever they wish that they were? Do you think that would be a destructive thing for people, even on a personal level?
Well, many
No.
people kind of associate their avatars or their own created characters. Like I have a few of my own created characters that I never put into play. It could be damaging if people decide I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be me anymore. I want to be, say you just had Tracer as your avatar. I want to be Tracer. I don't want to be my normal, bland, banal self. I want to be someone more exciting. So they'd spend pretty much all their time as, you know, Tracer, and then if they decide to ever go back to the real world, they're gonna be like, I'm not feeling like being myself. So I'm gonna go be someone else now.
The thing about it for me is that whenever I create an avatar, I try to base it a little bit on myself. So that destructive thing doesn't happen.
Halliday was, in a sense, the representation of people who live in video games, even if he was also kind of a little Spielberg, a little bit like Spielberg kind of putting himself into Halliday. It was also Halliday being a representation of all the people who live in video games and don't have real personal connections or real world ties. They end up having a tragic end.
Exactly.
Also, there's the point where even though he's dead, he sort of still lives on in his game.
What did you think about like Artemis and H and the characters and the bad guy, like the what IOI?
I thought the guy with the skull torso was pretty hilarious.
He reminded me of Snotlout from How to Train Your Dragon.
He had a voice that whoever played his
TJ
voice.
This is 10 years worth of stuff, man!
His voice is played by T.J. Miller.
Yeah, it was so familiar. I was trying to.
Yeah.
There was a character I know that did that.
Totally a 200-pound guy sitting at his computer, you know.
Yeah, he
Typical stereotype!
Yeah, he was the typical
Who
stereotype
was the bad guy?
gamer who
Gamer
would probably
bad guy.
bully noobs for fun. Just like if they had duels, he'd duel every level 1 player, like ever. And just be
So
like, ha!
the character's kind of like Parzival is a representation of like an everyman or an every nerd, like every one of the people who've ever played video games and dreams of winning that YouTube like gold medal.
YouTube,
Lack of
Yeah.
YouTube,
The golden player button.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
not
then
player
Artemis,
button, play button,
Artemis
player button.
represents every nerd fanboy's dream girl.
stereotypes.
And then
Stereotypes.
H kind of represents two things. She represents the awesome best friend sidekick, and she
And-
also represents kind of a person who's living in their identity of the avatar almost, because it's revealed that H is a girl. It's kind of like what?
That reveal for me was actually funny because
It was pretty
I
funny.
was sitting there and I'm like,
I was-
if this person knows what H said in the game, then this is obviously H.
I was like, when I first saw Rachel, I think that was her name.
Helen.
Helen. Oh.
Helen.
I thought,
Helen.
when I first saw that, I was like, that's H.
So Parzival is like the every nerd. Artemis is like the every nerd's dream girl. Sorrento is typical business bad guy.
With the
Business,
full
business.
girl.
H
Just
is
numbers.
the sidekick, that the fun sidekick, and then the other sidekicks in Daito and Sho.
Show
show was like the perfect.
Yes.
Like
So I like that they made show the kind of the underestimated 11-year-old.
that was just so amazing.
It was, because
'Cause-
that is actually true sometimes. I've been playing a few games, I've gotten my behind kicked, and I find out,
7-year-old in like Korea
nah, it's
playing StarCraft 2.
pretty much. So it's kind of cool how they got that representation of like the underestimated kid in this scenario, so
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
speaks
awesome.
to it almost speaks to the strengths of the story that they are archetypal, because then a lot of people identify with them right away,
Mhm.
and then they follow the story, which was kind of a typical story, you know, trying to go on this adventure and beat the levels and then save everyone at the end of the day. But what makes it powerful is that everyone in this day and age, and today in 2018, with so many people playing video games that are young people, you know, and so many like VR becoming big, and all the 80s nostalgia. Everyone loves me. All the 80s nostalgia.
Narcissist.
It's just like a perfect combination for people to really connect with and like this movie.
And like
So then a follow-up question: since this movie people like so much, would there be a sequel?
I would hope. but
absolutely
they-
not.
I don't think it's. I mean,
I-
it's a
I-
They
great.
wrap it up really neatly at the end with a little bow.
Yeah. I would like a sequel, but I don't think it'll ever come to fruition.
I think it's too good to have a sequel.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I don't think
This
there
ain't
was really a
Star Wars.
sequel. It was really good. The ending was
It's like
just
Indiana
nice.
Jones, you can't one up it like that.
Yeah.
It was like the ending was just so
Or even
nicely
Jurassic
wrapped
Park.
with a pretty little bow.
I mean, there could be
Was Indiana Jones
there
2
could be a sequel, but it
It would.
I know I can envision one, but it's gonna be kind of a wild goose chase and a mess. So
Yeah, I feel like a sequel would just be a cash grab.
Yeah, it's a lot like Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones. Just you can't one up it like that.
There's a lot of heart for video games and for like almost nerd culture and, you know, 80s and all of it. And it's just a really fun movie, isn't it, guys?
Yes.
Were you in the movie?
I am
she's the embodiment of the movie.
I am
Yeah, she's the
all
80s.
in that movie.
You're the only person in that movie.
She's
Okay.
the spirit of that movie.
I'm the spirit of Ready Player One.
I feel
Okay.
like just because it's a video game movie, my parents went to see it with me, and they loved it just as much as I did. They loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't
Good
even play
movie.
video games.
Yeah,
They
you
don't.
don't.
Neither do.
What's great
Me
also
too.
is even if you're a video gamer, you really get it. But if you're not a video gamer, you understand the concept at least. Like you
Yeah.
get what they're going through, what they're coming from.
My parents
Exactly.
my parents would take it out of context to be like,
This is what happens when video games take over your life. Get your hands off me.
it's a clean hand.
Thank you so much for watching our film discussion on Ready Player One.
This was
It is the lady of the 80s here with you, Chicken Fried Rice,
Shadows1230.
and Eugene Anthony. We'll see you next time. See you later.